Okay, good morning, everyone. I am very happy to, first of all, introduce myself. My name is Antonietta Barone. I am the program manager of the Master in Insurance and Risk Management program. First of all, I thank you for your participation, for being online today for this virtual open day. It is a really pity that we cannot host you, those who could reach Trieste, in our beautiful premises. As you can see, the background of the slide shows the Palazzo Ferdinandeo, that is our that hosts our school. And I think that the first thing for those who don't know where Trieste is and where our school is to project a short video on our school. So I ask my colleague Valentina, please, to start the video. Thank you.
Sure.
It all starts with your curiosity. It's a trip worth taking. A need to know more, to understand better, to challenge yourself. To begin with, your destination seems a long way away. But once you've taken that leap of faith in yourself, everything starts to become clearer. And when you least expect it, it has become reality. It's happening. A surge of concepts, connections, ideas, and inspiration carrying you to what you want to become. You seized the day, created your path, and walked along it. You feel wiser, enriched, and more complete. Because you are.
Okay, thank you, Valentina. That's just to give you an overview of what is the environment of the place where our school is located. As you have seen, maybe you have seen that it is surrounded by beautiful, let's say, bush, let's say, small forest, let's say. And it is an historical building that was built in 1855 during the Austrian Empire. So let's start with the agenda of today. This is the agenda of today. So sorry, because I skipped. Okay, here it is. So this is my welcome session. So my name is Antonietta Barone. As I told you, I'm the program manager. I will provide you with an overview of the program. I will provide you also with some details about the admission, the selection and admission process, scholarships, and I will be available to collect any questions you might have in this half an hour. It is to be said that, of course, I will be available also after the session, and you will find my email account at the end of the presentation itself. So feel free to contact me anytime for additional information or clarification you may need. After my session, there will be the live masterclass given by the academic director of the master's program, Professor Ermanno Pitacco, who is a well-known international renowned lecturer and also the author of many books and articles on statistics and insurance techniques. He is also a member of our core faculty. At 11:15, you will meet with my colleague Barbara Vidotto, who is responsible for the career service and the corporate relations of the school. So she will be available to collect any questions about possibility to do an internship, placement opportunities, and our links with the corporate world. At 11:40 till noon, we will meet with one of our former students, Calvin Wu, he will speak about his experiences, first-hand experience at the Master in Insurance and how this master has boosted his career. So thank you very much. Let's start with the first description, let's say. So a short overview on our school. MIB Trieste School of Management was established in 1988 by the Universities of Trieste and Udine and the group of companies such as the Caffè, Cantieri, Mieli, Generali, and Allianz, among the others. Since 2003, our programs have been taught in English, and this has, let's say, changed the profile of our students, because we are we've been able since then to attract students from all over the world. The master's provision, these are the master's programs that we offer. The MBA in International Business, that is offered in part-time and full-time modes, is accredited by the Association of MBA and the ASFORD, it's the Italian Association of Business Schools. Master in Insurance and Risk Management, accredited by EFMD at the European level and by ASFORD at the national level. The Executive MBA, Executive Master in Insurance and Finance, and Executive MBA in Business Innovation, that's been started this year. The accreditations and associations. The Master in Insurance and Risk Management is accredited by EFMD, as I already told. It's the European Foundation for Management Development, located in Brussels. The other associations concern the school and the other master's program. The Master in Insurance and Risk Management offer a multicultural environment as well. This is a common feature of our master's programs and our training initiatives. The multiculturalism, because as I said, most of our masters are in English, so this attracts many students from abroad. We have an international faculty because it is composed of both Italian lecturers having international experience and also visiting professors from 10 countries. Other experiences at international level are represented by the study tours, the possibility to do an international exchange program, and international internships. A wide network of relations with companies. This is one of the main strong points of the school and of our master's programs. And also a career service that provides, let's say, that help candidates to find a suitable placement after the program. The Master in Insurance and Risk Management is full-time, has been ranked this year 4th in the world for insurance and risk management by a universal ranking. That's this ranking, as you can see here, as you can read, is determined according also to the opinions of international recruiters, students, lecturers, and academic institutions in 154 countries. So it is very reliable, just to give you an idea of the quality, the standards that our masters has. The training methodology, the approach is based on a combination of lectures, of case studies, but also on the contribution that professionals and guest speakers coming from sponsors and partner companies give to our students during the teaching activities. It is important, of course, also to provide a personal contribution to the program, so individual study is also important. And another key element is the field project that's developed from March to June, so in the last part of the teaching activities in cooperation with Deloitte Italy. The timetable of the program. So the classes start in October. Next edition will be commenced on the 4th of October, and the activities in class will finish by June 2022. From June to September, there may be the possibility to complete an internship. This is not compulsory, but it is suggested, especially for young candidates, young graduates. And during the same period, each candidate is asked to write a final thesis. This final thesis is defended in October 2022 and leads to the awarding of the final diploma and the graduation day, the graduation ceremony. Sorry. This is a curriculum, a short curriculum. The curriculum is represented by 4 main areas: the fundamentals of management and economics, the insurance techniques, insurance company management, and risk management. This is the list of courses in each area. There is also another part represented by the elective courses and study tours. The elective courses are offered to all students of our master's program. So there are mixed classes and each student is free to choose up to 8, some courses to reach at least 8 credits. So there are different topics of general management, just to complete, let's say, the curriculum that we offer in, which is more, let's say, specific in the Masters in Insurance. Elective study tours in Milan and in London, unfortunately, have been suspended in the last 2 years because of the COVID, but we are confident that next year we will be able to reorganize them. So basically, we organize visits in companies, and also fostering, let's say, the creation of personal network with, since during these visits, students are exposed to an international environment and can meet with international managers. The leadership and accountability is another important area. It is the area dealing with the so-called soft skills, so the development of personal abilities. This area focuses on the time and trust management, public speaking, the peer evaluation, among the others. The group project work I was referring to is the Deloitte project, and it is an analysis of financial risk management. How to apply to the program? First of all, the first step is to go to our website and to complete the online application form. After you have completed the application form, including a motivational part, you will receive a feedback from the school. If the feedback is positive, you will be required to send a set of documents, among which the transcript, 2 letters of recommendation, your ID, and also any other, let's say, certificate or document that you think might be important to, let's say, support your application. After having received the documents, you are contacted to schedule an interview that is usually held via Skype or Teams with myself and with the colleague who is in charge of the career service. After the interview, there is also another part represented by the completion of 2 online tests in English, a logical abstract test and a numerical test. The results of the whole selection process is submitted to our admission board that takes a decision in about 7-10 days. So you will receive a response from the school after this period of time. If you are admitted and if you accept the admission offer, then the school, if you are an international student, the school is willing to is available to provide an assistance with lodging, with all the, let's say, the other details to help you come to Trieste to start the program itself. Scholarships that are opportunities offered by our sponsor companies to finance the course partially or totally. As far as the full scholarships are concerned, most of them are for Italian or European Union citizens. And specifically, the Ioneri scholarship is especially devoted to offered by Allianz Italy, is devoted to candidates coming from Eastern European countries and having a degree in economics or technical subjects. There are several other scholarships available, up to 50% of the tuition fees, and are always awarded on the merit after the selection process is successfully completed. These are our sponsor companies. As you can see, there are the main global insurance groups such as Allianz and Assicurazioni Generali, as well as the Italian Association of Insurance Companies, ENIA, and the big four of consultancy. This is return on investment, knowledge, network, personal development, and also career opportunities. Thank you very much. As I told you, I will available to collect any questions also after the following sessions, and also if you write me an email, we can make an appointment, and I will be available to provide any further detail and clarification you may need. Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to our
sorry, Maria Antonietta. Yes. Sorry, because we have still a few minutes. My name is Valentina from Communication Office. Yes. We have two questions from Chakrapani. And how many subjects can be chosen by the list of the elective courses? So how many?
Yes. So each elective course has a credit value, let's say. So, as I said, each candidate has to reach at least 8 credits. So it depends on the credits of each course. There are some courses whose value is 2 credits, some others 1.5, some others 1 credit.
Okay, so let's say they can choose around
usually 4 or 5
courses.
Yes, more or less, yes.
Perfect. And a second question is, what about the size of the classroom? So how many participants we usually have?
The average number is from 25 to 35. This is the average of the last 4 years, more or less. This means that we may have also bigger classes. Let's say we reached 40 participants some years ago, but the average is between 25 and 35. So small numbers, because we want that our candidates have the possibility to interact with lecturers, so to be proactive during the sessions.
And the third question is about the case that they cannot travel. So they are asking if the hybrid formula will be available for the next edition.
Yes, that's a good question, because this year we have decided to start an edition in hybrid mode. So participants will be allowed to follow classes either at premises or online, and to switch from one mode to the other during the academic year, if necessary, if they want, or if they, for any personal reasons, they wish to. So this is a very important opportunity, because since we don't know what is going to happen in the last autumn, I mean, if we will be out, will be free from COVID or not, this will be the best solution, so that anyone could be, let's say, offered the opportunity to follow classes, even staying home.
Great. And another one relates to payment, and Yonut is asking if it will be necessary to pay even if a participant was awarded with a full scholarship.
No, a full scholarship covers 100% of tuition fees.
So Yonut, you do not need to pay any installment.
No.
And another question is about the visa.
Yes.
If they will be able to get it even after attending classes online.
Yes,
No, of course.
Yes, of course, the visa is, if a candidate intends to come to Trieste to follow classes, the visa process has to start early in advance, very early, because it takes several months, according to our experience, to get the visa. If it's possible to start, as I said, to follow online, waiting to be given the visa. This is possible, of course.
Great. And last questions we have about the merit-based scholarship. If for candidates outside European Union, which is the maximum amount in percentage of the merit-based scholarship?
So the partial scholarship, the highest amount is 50%, so 11,000.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have Nico. Which part of the day are classes held? So our timetable of a normal day here at MIB.
Yes, so the program is full-time, and classes run from Monday to Friday, from 9:15 to 6:15 p.m. This is the general, say, the average length of a school day. In the period where elective courses are held, of course, a candidate not having selected certain courses is free to not to come to school, not to follow classes, because only I'm referring only to compulsory courses.
Great. And the last question is again by Chakrapani. He is asking if they will receive the presentation. Of course, yes, we are going to share it with you all.
Yes, I confirm. Okay. Yes, we will be happy to share the presentation.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. So thank you for your attention. And I see that our academic director, Professor Pitacco, is already online. If so, I think that we can, I can give him the floor. I would like only to briefly introduce him, even if he's a very, as I said, is a very renowned lecturer, a professor, and he also wrote several articles and on the insurance techniques and statistics. He is an actuary, is a member of our core faculty. I think since the very beginning of the activities of our school. And he has a double degree in economics and in statistics, if I'm not wrong, but he will probably correct me if I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong. Okay, And so thank you for the attention. I give the floor to Professor Pitacco.
Thank you. Many thanks, Antonietta, and welcome everybody to this first meeting. I hope to see, of course, you again, and possible to see in person and not only in internet. So I would like to share my slides. I think it's possible to do. I am accustomed with Teams more than with Zoom, but I will try now. Let me see whether it's possible.
I think that Valentina, you have to make him co-host as well.
I don't see my slide, which are open here on the desktop.
Just 1 second, because I think that we have to make you co-host. Okay. Can you share the screen now?
Yeah, I can share, but what is strange, I don't see the slides. Sorry, because I opened the slides, but no, that's my email. Sorry, I try now to open. No, because there is a little difference with respect to Teams.
Yes, so in the lower part of the screen.
Yeah, that's right. But nevertheless, I do not find. I found. Sorry, I found the. But not. Let me see here. Okay, now I think should work. Do you see the slides?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, very well. So I get used also with Zoom now. There is Teams, Zoom, GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting. Everything is similar, but not exactly. So let me enlarge. Okay. Yeah. Very well. So sorry for this moment, but we are still 1 minute before 10:30. So no problem. So just to give an idea, a general idea about some of the topics that are dealt with during the Master in Insurance and Risk Management course, in particular risk transfers, what is the meaning of transferring a risk, and in particular, what is the meaning of risk transfer in a moving scenario? Because indeed, scenarios are continuously on the move as regards economic issues, financial issues, demographic, biometric issues, and so on. So just to start, this is our agenda. What's the meaning indeed of risk transfer? What is the role of insurance products? What are the features of new scenarios? And some examples in which insurance has a significant importance. And you see September 11th, well known, unfortunately, but also other events which had a rather strong impact on the insurance activity. So December 8th in 2000, it would be, not for us, of course, today, but it is a case study because of the demise, almost default, of a very famous and old insurance company, the Equitable Life. Then the starting points of the unigender European markets, no longer gender discrimination. And finally, before conclusion, just some words about the current COVID scenario. So what about risk transfer? We know that there are pure risks which can only lead to a loss suffered by companies, by individuals, by households, by public institutions, and so on. And assuming that companies, individuals, and all the agents have some risk aversion, this determines the transfer of risks. Better, the transfers of the impact of risk, because risk is something physical, and the impact is something which is in money, in monetary terms. Transfer of risk usually implies the building of a pool of risk. What's the meaning of pool? A set of risk, more or less analogous, similar. And the purpose is to reduce the relative riskiness. Under some conditions, the larger the pool, the lower the individual riskiness. Pools are usually managed by insurers, and the insurers make a transformation from pure risks, which can only lead to a loss, to a speculative risk, but speculative not in a negative sense. Of course, the term speculative has various meanings, in particular in a philosophical meaning. You can understand what is philosophical speculation. Now, here means simply a risk which we are looking for, because this can lead to a loss, but hopefully leads to profits. And so the insurance company deals with a speculative risk, because of course the insurance company can have a loss, hopefully will have a profit. But there are also other way of transferring risk that are the so-called alternative risk transfers, the ART, which means transfer to capital markets via what we call insurance-linked securities, like the catastrophe bonds, the mortality bonds, the longevity bonds, and so on. What's the insurance products? If you look at an insurance product, you don't see anything. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a promise. It's not like a computer, like a car, like a jacket, like a pen, a pencil. No, it's simply a promise. A promise of what? Of paying an amount if a specified event occurs. An event which is a claim in non-life insurance, which may be the survivorship or the death in life annuity, in pension, in general, in life insurance products. And by the way, there is usually a deferment. So time between when the policy is issued, when the policy is written, the policy is the document which proves the contract, and the not sure, but the possible payments. So the insured pays the premium in advance, and of course has to trust in the insurance company, has to trust the insurance company will be able to pay according to the stated policy conditions. So from the perspective of the insurance company, what is extremely important is the product design, because according to the product design, there should be the real possibility of paying what has been promised. A premium must be calculated. The word premium is rather strange, but the premium you have to understand as a synonym for price of the product. So premium must be calculated, and this is a cost, has to cover the cost. It is the price that has to cover the cost. But it's not a cost ex post. The cost must be assessed basing on future events, future costs. So there is an uncertainty in the cost. So calculating the premiums requires forecast as regards future costs. And then the premium must be managed throughout the time. So that the insurance company is also a financial intermediary because it has to invest the premiums. And in particular, when the contract is a long-term contract, like in life insurance, the company has to get an investment yield in order to cover interest rate, etc. But I don't want to go here in too many details. There is an important insurance legislation which imposes constraints on insurance activity, in particular, capital requirements, disclosure, transparency, financial reporting, etc. And for example, Solvency II is very famous in Europe as the legislation which imposes constraints to the insurance activity. And there are, of course, supervisory authorities. For example, in Italy, the IVAS, but there is a supervisory authority in each European country, and not only in European countries, of course, and there are also international organizations. What about the new scenarios? I mentioned some dates, December 8, 2000, September 11, 2001, and November 6, 2004, and December 21, 2012, etc. These are really critical dates in the recent insurance history. And these dates stimulate thinking about the role of the insurance activity, and specifically the need for updating our knowledge and our awareness, and knowledge as regards techniques, skills, etc. So the framework in which we have to work and to think is a framework of evolving scenarios on the move in an international context. What about September 11? Of course, limiting to the insurance aspect. The impact on insurance market was really huge. Cost estimated about 40 to 50 billion US dollars, with a huge number of claims, more than 50,000, involving all insurance branches, in particular in life insurance, of course, and in non-life insurance, or if you prefer, general insurance, or property and casualty insurance according to the American English. So we actually use in Europe frequently the expression non-life, in UK more frequently general insurance, in the US property and casualty, or property and liability. It's interesting to note that more or less one half of the cost, 50%, covered by European insurers and reinsurers in particular. As you know, reinsurers are the insurers for the insurers, so for a further transfer of risks. It's difficult to understand for normal people as we are what is the meaning of 50 billion US dollar. So maybe appropriate to make some comparisons. For example, the costs were more or less 2 times the cost related to the Andrew hurricane, one of the most severe in Florida in 1992. Almost 3 times the cost related to the terrible Los Angeles earthquake in 1994. And from an economic point of view, even more significant, 1/4 of the market's value of insurance company in the world. And this market value, I mean, what's the market value? Of course, it's the price of each share of each equity times the number of shares. So market value is something which is huge, of course, is an enormous amount, and 1/4 of this amount is really a huge cost. What about the branches involved? All the branches. Life and disability for 7%, property 24%, business interruption, you can imagine 27%, and workers' compensation, aviation, third-party liability, another peak at 25%, and other. What's the role of insurance? That's basic, sharing the costs among all the insureds. I mean, even the insureds who didn't suffer a damage. That's the principle of mutuality. Mutuality is the rationale of insurance, is la raison d'être. Without mutuality, insurance has no meaning, would have no meaning. So, if we want to think to what happened in the insurance field, we discovered that there are new needs, the need for new way of thinking, of addressing this problem, new needs versus the old theory. First, correlation among risks. Risks belonging to different branches, but correlated, linked in some way. What's the old theory? Classically, the hypothesis of independence among risks. Many calculations, many technical actuarial calculations were in the past, but still are based on the assumption of the independence. And of course, actuarial calculation underpin insurance and reinsurance transfer. But now we are aware correlations are extremely important and must be taken into account. Calculation methods are more complex, of course, but nonetheless, we must deal with correlation. Not only correlation among risks, but a new issue, correlation between insurer's obligation, the liability, the obligation to pay the claim, and the assets, the value of investments. Indeed, all stock exchanges had a negative behavior, of course, and so loss of value in the investments. Classically, hypothesis of independence between the two sides of the balance sheet, assets on one side and liabilities on the other. This is usually adopted when assessing the degree of an insurance solvency. Now in Solvency II, of course, there are new items, new approaches that allow us to take into account the correlation between assets and liabilities. Indeed, decrease in the value of assets implies a decrease in the risk capital, and so a lower capacity in meeting the obligation. And of course, a more dramatic decrease. Why? Because of the global feature, the global characteristic of the attack, of the terroristic attack. So clearly there is a need for models which carefully represent the risk profile, the so-called risk profile of an insurance company, and its solvency degree. Solvency to be understood as ability, indeed, in meeting the obligations taken by the insurer. What about December 8, 2000? The case study of Equitable Life. What about the story? In 1762, founded the Equitable Life Insurance Society, established in London, provided the technical support, a very strong technical support, consisting of the first life table constructed according to scientific principle, life table which describes the survival, or if you want, the mortality of individuals, constructed by Edmond Halley, The name of Halley is more famous probably for the comets, the star with the tail, which has its name. So Halley indeed was an astronomer, but also a mathematician and statistician. And even more interesting, an actuarial model, I do not describe here, of course, but proposed by James Dodson, who is one of the father of life insurance technique. That's the beginning of the story. So very serious beginning, very, very good beginning with very appropriate technical tools. In 1913, the company started selling pension annuities to employees. And later, 40 years later, more than 40 years, started selling pension annuities to self-employed persons. What is usually called also a life annuity, so a sequence of payments from retirement time onwards. But in 1980, Equitable decided to launch the products usually known with the acronym GAO, G-A-O, Guaranteed Annuity Option. And this was fantastic from the customer perspective and terrible from the insurance perspective. I will explain in a moment. Indeed, December 8, 2000, Equitable was forced to stop selling life annuities, pension, and even other life insurance products. And the default follows. It's not a default in the usual sense, because Equitable, by the way, still exists. There is still the website of Equitable, but in practice is not working. Why? We have to understand what really happened. What is the GAO product? It's an individual accumulation plan, which means during the working time, a person accumulates money and at retirement converts, possible conversion of the amount accumulated into a life annuity. So what were the choices, the possible choices at the end of the accumulation phase? End of the accumulation phase means in practice the time of retirement, so becoming a retiree, a pensioner. Possible choice number one, to get the lump sum. Lump sum means cash. All the accumulated amounts taken as a cash amount. Second, to purchase a life annuity, so converting the cash amount into a pension, into a life annuity. But what about the relation between the accumulated amounts and the annual or the monthly benefits? There are some conditions. And so the second option was to convert according to current conditions regarding the interest rate and the life table. This is called the CAR conversion, where CAR means current annuity rate. The annuity rate is a number which transforms the accumulated amount into the amount of the benefit, which will be paid lifetime, which means as long as the pensioner will be alive. Third option, number 3, to purchase a life annuity, exactly as in number 2, but according to condition stated at the beginning of the accumulation phase, which means when the contract was written. And this is called the GAR, Guaranteed Annuity Rate. What are these choices? Are, according to the finance language, options embedded in the product. But scenarios, what about? Now we have to address the particular case. In the 80s, 1980, 1985, high interest rates, high yield from investments, at least compared to what happened in the following years. Projected life table. life table describing the future mortality, the future survival. But life table used at that time included weak mortality improvements, weak if compared to the following experience. Second aspect of the scenario, a strong competition on life annuity market in the UK specifically, because the social security in UK is very strict, is not generous. And so the need for a pension is a very strong need. So that the GAO product was extremely attractive. And indeed, Equitable Life sold a huge number of contracts. By the way, I can add that the interest rate guaranteed was, I don't remember, if 6 or 6.5%. You can imagine it's a very high interest rate compared to following yield from investments in the following years. So very attractive. And at the end of the 90s, almost all insureds choose option number 3. So purchase a life annuity according to the guaranteed annuity rate. By the way, including a guaranteed interest rate of 6 or 6.5%. But current interest rate at the end of the 90s, lower, much lower than the guaranteed one. 6% was a dream, impossible to obtain. Unanticipated mortality improvements experienced in the 90s, and a new projected life table, but based on other forecasts. So the current annuity rate was not so good from the customer perspective, whereas the GAR was the option 3, promising the GAR was in money, in the option language, was an option in the money. Okay, but what tools were adopted by Equitable? Absolutely nothing, and that's terrible. No assessment of the value and the cost of the option, no pricing of the option, no hedging of the consequent risks involved by the option. Traditional pricing of the pension, of the life annuity products, I don't go into details, that's the traditional equivalence principle, only based on expected value. So didn't take into account the risk profile. Poor reserve, poor portfolio reserve, and poor capital allocation. So that's assets were absolutely not enough to meet the liabilities. And that's the end of the story. Just to say, this is a typical risk management case. A risk management because from the sad story of Equitable, we have to learn all what an insurance company must avoid in order to avoid the demise, the default. Okay, now move to another aspect. November 6, 2004 and December 21, 2012. Two dates. Why? Because actually there was a delay in making, operating this important new issue. What's the new issue? November 6, 2004, a European directive concerning the ban of gender as a rating factor in insurance products, which means the same premiums for males and females, not only in life insurance, also in general in property casualty and so on. And December 21st, which by the way is also a famous date because according to the Maya calendar, was the end of the world, but to be honest, I am enough old to to have experienced 3 or 4 ends of the world in my life. Fortunately, we are still here. But for many insurance, there was some concern, not as regards the end of the world, but as regards management insurance portfolio, because this was the deadline for implementing the directive, and this was after a sentence of the European Court. So here there is it's important to stress a technical aspect. So risk factors on one side, on the one hand, versus rating factors on the other, because gender actually is a risk factor, in particular in life insurance, but also in health insurance, because we can see different age patterns of mortality and even of morbidity, but in particular of mortality. And indeed, the life expectancy of females in all countries over the world is between 2 and even 7 or 8 years longer than the life expectancy for males at the birth. So this is a risk factor. Mortality is a risk, gender, is a risk factor as regards mortality, but is not allowed as a rating factor. What are rating factors? Are those risk factors which are accounted for in premium calculation. So not only risk factors are allowed to be accounted for. And the rating factor, the number of rating factor is usually smaller than the number of risk factors. So that's the story. What is strange is that accounting for differential mortality and morbidity, for diversity in the age pattern of mortality, is mandatory when you calculate the reserve. Why? Because, for example, according to Solvency II, you have to set aside money in order to pay, for example, life annuities. But when you have to determine how much you must take into account how many of your annuitants or your insurers are male, how many are female. And so there is a strange contrast between the pricing moments when you calculate the premium, you are not allowed to consider the gender, and the time when you have to write, for example, your balance sheet or your semestral reports or your reports every 3 months, your quarterly report, etc. So this is an actuarial problem. So in practice, we find some regulation constraints on the one hand versus, on the other hand, technical features. According to technical features, we should also, when pricing, take into account the gender, but we are not allowed, the insurers are not allowed to do. What about COVID-19? Just a few words, because actually what we can say, unfortunately, apart all the consequences of COVID-19, from a statistical point of view, it's very difficult to draw conclusion. Why? Because there is a significant heterogeneity among countries as regards techniques adopted for collecting and elaborating data. And not only among countries, but to some extent, even inside one country as regards regions, for example, in Italy, or Länder in Germany, or other local entities in other countries. And so when there is a heterogeneity, you can imagine it's very difficult to compare data. And by the way, it's now too early to draw serious conclusions. But I think I want to stress one aspect at least, which results in an invitation to think. You can read or you hear television or you listen, for example, 5% of people, etc. What is a percentage? What is 5%? 5% is, from an arithmetical point of view, a way of expressing, of writing a number. We have also other ways, but 5% corresponds to a fraction, what we call a rational number. A fraction, not only a fraction, many fractions. For example, 5 over 100, of course, or 50 over 1,000, or 500 over 10,000. All are 5%. Are these numbers the same? Oh yes, for an arithmetical point of view, all these numbers are the same and can be written as 5%. But are the same from a statistical point of view? No, absolutely. What is the meaning of 5 over 100, over 100? You have observed 100 cases, and in 5 out of them, you have found something. But 50 over 1,000 is another thing. You have observed 1,000 cases, and you discover that in 50 out of 1,000, there is something, some characteristic. And you can imagine that when you have 1,000 instead of 100, the reliability is much, much higher. And so the statistical meaning is not the same. So that's an important aspect. Are you sure that we really understand the meaning of numerator and denominator, where the numerator is 5, the denominator is 100, or the numerator is, for example, 50, and the denominator is 1,000? That's a serious issue. What about the future as regards COVID-19? What about the lifetime of persons affected by COVID-19? We don't know, of course. And by the way, we must be extremely careful also when interpreting some calculation. For example, in Italy, Istat has calculated the life expectancy now in this year, in the last year, 2020, discovered that the life expectancy now is 1 year less than in the past. Yeah, that's be true, because there was a high number of deaths because of COVID. But this is not to be interpreted as, okay, now a 30 years old man, gentleman, or lady has a life expectancy of 1 year less. No, we do not know the future. Absolutely. That's what we call a period observation. 1 year less. Why? Because mortality has been observed in 2020. What about the future? We hope better, of course. So also these type of results calculated by absolutely serious institution, because, by the way, I trust in calculation performed by Istat, but the problem is interpretation. So not only as regards the fractions, for example, over 5 over 10 or 50 over 1,000, over 100, sorry, or 50 over 1,000, but also more complex results, like, for example, the life expectancy, etc. So I go towards the conclusion. What is the insurer's role? Intermediation. Usually insurers are introduced as financial intermediaries. That's true to some extent, of course it's true. But first of all, we have to think to insurance company as intermediaries in the mutuality process. When particular risk covers are involved, this is the only important intermediation. And so we had, I hope, clearly the idea when a disaster occurs, like an earthquake, like a terroristic attack, like a flood, etc. Some people suffer important damages, other people suffer small damages, or absolutely not at all any damage. And the cost for repaying high damages must be shared among all the individuals. Let me say, are automatically shared because all insured individuals pay the premium, even if they do not receive any reimbursement, any payments. And this is what we call the mutuality. It is a cross subsidy. So all people pay the premium, some people receive the amount. Are premiums enough to pay? That's the problem of solvency. To this purpose, insurance company must also set aside reserves and shareholder capital. So in practice, you understand that insurance company are, for a large extent, financed by the premiums, what we call the policy holder payments, okay, so the insurance, and to another extent, not so important, but in any case important for the solvency purpose, are financed by the shareholders, policy holders, shareholders. Of course, they have different needs, different preferences, different risk aversions. So the problem is to find a reasonable compatibility degree between the policyholder perspective interest and the shareholder interest. Financial intermediary in managing savings and pension products. This is particularly important when the contract, the policy is a long-term contract. Usually in general insurance, in non-life insurance, the contract is a 1 year, has a 1 year term. So the financial intermediation is not so important. Whereas in life insurance, almost all contracts are multi-year contracts. Multi-year, which can mean 5 years, 10 years, or lifelong. If you think to a pension starting, let's say, age 65 or age 70, okay, the pension can last for 20, 25, 30 years. According to current life table, there is a high probability of reaching age 90 or 95. So these are very long-term contracts. And the insurance company has to invest in order to get an investment yield with which the insurer can cover the interest rate, which is guaranteed. That's another story. Not all the products have a guaranteed interest rate. For example, there are the so-called unit-linked contracts. By the way, if you will attend the MIRM course, you will hear about traditional contracts with interest rate guarantee, non-guaranteed contracts like the unit-linked and so on. But that's in particular in life insurance. some remarks. Clearly, there is a strong need for innovation, particularly in mathematics, in actuarial mathematics. So I mean in mathematics for life insurance and non-life insurance, and in general in insurance technique. This innovation implied in recent times, let's say 10 to 20 years ago, the need for opening the technical world to contributions coming from other disciplines, from finance, for corporate finance, etc. And this caused many problems in reciprocal understanding. It was really a bubble because different languages were used. And so this caused really problems in understanding. I just referred to an example, which I think is rather significant. What is the meaning of risk capital? These two words, this expression is used at least with two completely different meanings. Risk capital, the first meaning is the capital at risk. So the shareholder capital. So the capital provided by the shareholder in order to guarantee blah, blah, blah. So it is an amount, a real existing amount, the money provided by the shareholders, risk capital. And it is at risk, of course, because in case of default, this is lost completely. Second meaning, risk-based capital. This is the capital that the insurance company should have in order to have a good degree of solvency, a good probability, a high probability of meeting the liabilities. But this is not what the insurance company actually has. This is a requirement, what the insurance company should have in order to be able, blah, blah, blah. So two completely different meanings. The first, what really has. The second, what is required. Maybe in terms of money, they can coincide, but you understand that the meanings are completely different. The meanings are completely different. So what emerged in recent years, let's say 10, 15 years ago, the need for an integrated approach, in particular because of new scenarios, because of scenarios on the move and the consequent problems. Fortunately, now there is the ERM framework, Enterprise Risk Management. By the way, I like very much this acronym because these are the first three letters of my name. My name is Ermanno, and so ERM is particularly fits this. So, but apart this rather stupid joke, what is ERM? Is a new discipline. Is a new discipline which encompasses technical aspects, financial aspects, corporate aspects, legislative and supervisory constraints. And the purpose of ERM, among the various purposes, is to try to unify the language, to define a language. And this is extremely important as regards communication, because of course, in insurance and risk management, we have a number of different professionals with different backgrounds, financial, statistical, mathematical, actuarial, legal, international, as regards international markets, corporate finance. And these people have to speak each other, but not using exoteric language, using a language which can be understood. And so standardizing the language is really a quite important issue. In particular, currently because we are working in the world. We are not working just in Italy or Germany or France or Slovenia or something, some country, some specific country. But we have to work worldwide. So that's all on my side. So I thank you for your attention. And if there are questions, I'm happy to answer, of course. Otherwise, I move, I leave the floor to the next
Professor Pitacco.
Professor
Pitacco, we have.
I see. Okay, Barbara Vidotto is ready. But of course, if there are questions, I think yes. I have exhausted my available time. It was 45 minutes. I used 48. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, Prof. Pitacco, we have a question by Abbas. He say IFRS 17 was introduced to replace the IFRS 4 for insurance contract. Does the program cover the IFRS 17 requirements and implementation?
Yes, the answer is positive. Affirmative. In the military language, affirmative. Okay. Okay. It's not in the insurance technical courses, which means life, non-life, introduction to risk insurance, but in specific accountancy, which are of course connected to the technical subjects, but are typically devoted to general accountancy issue, and in particular IFRS and IAS. Exactly. These are covered. Okay. There is a colleague, or better, two colleagues, which are charged for this part of the syllabus. Yes.
Then we have a second one, who is the designer of an insurance product, and after the master program will be able to realize this type of product.
The design? No.
Yeah, I guess that Nausicaa means the creator of an insurance product. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a typical example of a teamwork, because all professionals should be involved. So the idea usually originates from the market. So looking the market. So a person involved should be able to understand what are the wishes, what the market actually wish to have. Then there is a technical support, because of course the price of the products has to be calculated. And in this process, some risk professionals are involved, because a product may be more or less demanding in terms of demanding or capital absorbing. A very risky product calls for huge amounts of money, which can be against the shareholders' wishes, of course, the shareholder perspective. So that's a problem of compatibility between the customer perspective on one side and the shareholder perspective. Of course, professionals with a legal experience must be involved, because when you write a contract, you have to be careful in writing all the conditions. And the contract must be absolutely transparent. That's a problem of disclosure. So the creator of the product really must be absolutely a team. This is a typical team result, not just one person or one type of professional. That's a matter of contributions from diverse perspective, diverse experiences, etc.
Thank you, Prof. Pitacco.
Welcome.
Barbara, I believe the floor is yours.
Barbara, please. Thank you for your attention again, by the way. Bye-bye.
Thank you to you, Professor Pitacco. Always interesting listening to you. So good morning. Good morning to all of you who are attending. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on which side of the world you are attending us. I hope you can hear me quite well. I would like to share a very short presentation about the career service. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. As you can see, my name is Barbara Vidotto. I'm in charge of the career service and corporate relations here at MIB Trieste School of Management. In particular, the activities that I follow and I lead are dedicated to our full-time masters, in particular our MBA in International Business, and of course, our master in Insurance and Risk Management. So I hope that you will be able to as well see my presentation. Just a second. Okay. So as I was saying, the career service is one of the services that our full-time masters can rely on. And what do we do together? Which is the aim of the career service, and what can you expect from this kind of service? Basically, what the career service does is a very personalized service, a customized service that we offer to our students. And the first aim is to support you and to give you the right tools in order to design and work together on your career strategy. So defining and of course supporting you in reaching the target that you have, professionally speaking, of course. So how do these, let's say, very important target can be reached together? There are a few tools that we start to work on together, starting from the very beginning of your presence here at MIB or online, whatever option you will decide to take. And this kind of activities, as I was saying, are absolutely personalized. Of course, we cannot generalize when speaking about professional expectations, professional strategy and goals. Each of you will have different backgrounds, different experiences, and will be willing to have and to experience different opportunities from starting from the when the master programs ends. So of course we need to have a very customized approach on this. Even though there are some tools which are given on a plenary session, because of course these are tools that all of you will need in order to face the job market. And the tools are given through several activities that the career service organizes. First of all, some workshops and seminars, and we will be going more in detail about these aspects in the following slides. The one-to-one individual meetings, what I was saying before, so the important appointment that we have together in order to know each other and to better understand which are your goals and how we can work together on reaching your professional targets. And there are a lot of networking events. And once again, we will be going more in detail on this in the following slides. Of course, please feel free to interrupt me whenever you have some questions. Feel free to write on chat or raise your hand or unmute and speak. I will be more than glad to answer to your questions. Regarding the workshops and seminars, we start quite immediately. So when you come here in Trieste, or when you start to attend your master, we start together to work on one of the most important tools that you have when you're looking for a job, which is your curricula. So the idea on how to write an effective CV and cover letter, because everybody knows how to write a cover letter or a CV. The important word here is how to write an effective CV and cover letter, because at the end of the day, what you are going to use is a sort of business card of yourself. And the business card is as well your LinkedIn profile. So we will be working together on these three documents that will be used from your side for your personal branding as well. Second workshop that we organize is relying, of course, on what we've been touching and working together while speaking about the CV, which is personal branding and job orientation, always in a plenary session. We will be then discussing the recruitment process and the selection process from the company perspective. So the first two seminars are organized and are delivered in order to better know yourself and what the market can offer. The recruitment and selection process workshop, which can be done as well in collaboration with some HR's managers coming from the field, from the companies, is aimed at understanding how the company works. So the other side of the selection process. What are companies looking for? Which skills are they searching on the market? The talent acquisition processes that they have internally. What kind of brand do they want to communicate to candidates? So the employer branding activities of the companies. Other tools, very important when facing the job market. Once you have sent out first step is to underline your strengths, underline them in your CV, understand how the company will be collecting those CVs, and hopefully you get to the job interview. The job interviews is a key point right now. We know that interviews have been changing a lot and quite quickly in these last months, let's say, of course, COVID has helped or has forced many companies to go digital as well regarding the recruitment process and the job interview. So we will be working a lot on understanding what an interview is, but most important is about simulating interviews. And what we do is to simulate on a plenary session the interviews, but of course the individual meetings are aimed as well to have a one-to-one mock interview. And the last workshop that we usually organize is dedicated to the assessment center, once again with the simulation, and once again focusing on the transformation of the assessment center, which are basically done mostly online. So once again, of course, we will be living together the updating of the companies regarding this aspect, because if last year 100% of the recruitment has been done digital, probably from the coming months, there will be a hybrid approach. So you will have both digital, but companies are willing to have as well face-to-face appointments with candidates. As I was saying to you before, we have these one-to-one activities, mainly in individual meetings that we organize together in order to once again know each other, have a sort of CV review, speak about your professional orientation, and once again on some specific tools as, for example, the mock interview or the assessment center preparation. Once again, I would like to underline how key for us is to have a personalized approach, which means that each candidate, we have a sort of open door policy. Whenever you feel like sharing some information, it's just a matter of knocking to our door or to book an appointment in order to discuss what's going on, which are the opportunities that you're facing, which are the difficulties maybe that you're facing while searching for a job position or an opportunity in the job market. And we, of course, support you in defining this strategy, once again, in facing as well the difficulties that, of course, they may arise during your path while searching for a job. The third part of the activities that we run together and that we offer to our students is focused on networking. So once you have the tools, once you have understood or you have a sort of job orientation in your mind and you have the tools to face the job market, you need to have the contacts where to offer all the tools and all the information and the skills that you have acquired during the master. These matching points are created and are facilitated through many activities that we organize, which we call networking activities, because networking is absolutely important. When you decide to attend a master program in a business school, one of the added value is the possibility to become part of a network, which is the network of the alumni, of the faculty, of the companies, of the people around. So it's not just a matter of connecting people, it's about connecting people and people with ideas, with opportunities. And the activities that we do in order to facilitate and to reinforce this networking is mainly creating opportunities to you to meet companies. First of all, there are many managers coming, as Maria Antonietta was saying, taking part to the activities of the program, so the didactic academic activities, so bringing topics and bringing content to the class. But as well, what we do is to invite managers and company representatives to present the company itself, so to once again give them the possibility to do some employer branding activities, but at the same time to know and to meet our talents and to have the opportunity to select from the class that we are offering in a way to the company. You know that the MIB program has can count on a huge number of sponsor and partner companies. These companies have the priority, the sponsor companies, to select among the CVs of our candidates and can offer job opportunity, internship opportunities. There is a number of partner companies as well who are willing to know our candidates and talents. And usually, just to give you a sort of time frame of when this kind of match starts, let's say that if from October till January, we work on reinforcing the tools and understanding the job market through the workshops and seminars I was explaining to you before. Starting from February on, it's a time when companies start to react to the CV book that we send to them and start to understand which could be the opportunities to offer to our students. I must say that probably April and May are the, let's say, hot months during which many interviews are running, many opportunities, many presentations. And so far, if just to give you a number of what is happening currently for the current edition, more than 50% of our candidates have already signed an offer and already know where they will be involved and in what they will be involved in starting from June, July, and September. We are, of course, waiting for other confirmations, and we are very confident of the fact that all of our students will be busy and working in the summertime, or not, if not in the summertime, starting from September. Companies involved in these activities are, as you may imagine, our sponsor companies, so Allianz, Assicurazioni Generali, Ernst & Young, KPMG have been presenting, so I've been taking part to our corporate conversation project, but are as well offering internship and job positions. Not only our sponsor companies, but as well partner companies such as AXA, Willis Towers Watson, Marsh, and many others. So I hope I briefly described what the activities of the career service are. So if you have, please, any questions before our alumni, just so I can already see that Kelvin is connected. So just to go back to the importance of the network, of networking, we have invited today one of our former students to share his experience as a student, but as well as a professional right now, and maybe telling us something more about the importance of networking. But please, if you have any questions, I will be more than glad to answer.
Barbara, we have a question by
Yes,
Yonu asking which is the average salary for the internship.
Okay, so it's difficult to answer because, of course, it depends on the country, and even if in the same country, for example, in Italy, if the city changes a lot as well, the amount of the internship. So what we usually ask to our partner companies is to consider, of course, that you will be working in a different city, and of course they know this. And in Italy, I can say that it's among starting from 500 euro up to 1,200 euro.
Great. And another question is, what about the main activity after finishing the program? And in the case in a company, Yonu asked to create a risk assessment for an insurance company. Is it possible?
But of course, this can be one of the activities that you might be involved in. Going back to what Professor Pitacco was saying, it's not a matter of you working on this. Teamwork is absolutely essential, not only during the program, but as well once back or once in the job market. So basically, yes, you might be asked to do this kind of assessment for an insurance company, probably while working for a consultancy company. So being a consultant, it might be possible for you to work in a team on this kind of activities. Consider that our candidates and our graduates usually cover different positions in the industry, banking and insurance or financial industry in general, as consultant, as risk managers, as compliance manager, internal audit. So there are different areas, but of course, yes, risk assessment for the insurance company might be one of those.
Okay, and we have one more question. If someone has not much background of risk and insurance, we will be difficult to relate things during the master program. So without a technical background, I imagine that he's asking.
Yes, so we must be honest, probably at the beginning it will be tough for who do not have this kind of technical or quantitative background. But we have many best practices of people coming from different backgrounds, more qualitative backgrounds, let's say, who have been performing very well, as well, maybe obtaining the high honor degree at the end of the master. And from the career perspective, there is room for everyone on the job market. It's just a matter as well of combining hard skills with soft skills as well. So having the backlog, let's say, of the hard skills, which is given through the program, combined with a set of soft skills, which are very much important right now.
Okay, and another question, about students who are not European Union residents, so how our school support them too.
Okay, so I'm speaking from the, of course, professional side, career perspective, because before, let's say, once applying for the master, the school supports you in asking for the visa and for the permit of stay for study reasons in Italy. Non-European citizens might have the willingness as well to have experience outside Italy once concluded the master. Of course, it depends a lot on which kind of country they are interested in moving to. If there is the company sponsoring the visa and the permit to work there, the work permit. So according to the country, there are different regulations. What the school does is, of course, support the candidate in understanding which is the right procedure, and of course, working together with the company in order to sponsor this kind of activities. It might be an issue, of course. This is something that a non-European candidate must take into consideration. But once again, we do have best practices as well in this area.
Great. And Dorsila is now asking, are the program partners also the major recruiters of the students?
Yes, even though every year we are adding new companies, new partners, but basically, yes, sponsor companies and partner companies are the main recruiters as well of the master. Of course, candidates, once the sponsor companies have, let's say, already selected candidates are free to search and to look for opportunities which are not maybe included in the list of partner companies of the school. Absolutely. Once again, we go back to a very one-to-one approach, which means that we need to keep absolutely updated on what is going on, because it happens sometimes that a candidate wants to approach a company, try his or her best to do it, and then realize that the school already has a direct contact there. So instead of going through your own path, it's always good to speak and to exchange information. So once again, to take out the best of the collaboration and the support that the school can give.
And the last question is about the working visa after the program in Italy or European countries, if they can get it. And of course, the answer is that it depends. I mean,
of course, it depends as well on which kind of position and the willingness of the company to sponsor the candidate and to support him or her in applying for this kind of information. Of course, as a school, we can only guarantee the support for the, let's say, bureaucratic aspects which are relying to bringing you here in Italy to study. Then for what is happening afterwards, we need always to consider as well the support of the companies and the regulations of the different countries.
Thank you.
Okay, so Valentina, if there are no other questions, I think that Kelvin, can you hear me or you're online?
Yes,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
I am switching on my camera. I apologize that I have to wear a face mask because I'm in the office. So,
no problem, Kevin. It's nice to see you even though with a mask. So thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to see you.
No, it's a great pleasure to be here. I have been a bit of long time having in touch with the school, but it's really my pleasure to speak a few words or share my experience during the time that I was in Trieste with MIB Trieste School of Management. Just share a few words because it has been a very good experience for me. Since I'm working in Asia, in Hong Kong for sometimes before I moved to Italy, it was a very interesting experience for me. And the program has offered me a very diversity of different knowledge. I think I heard a bit from the Barbara has already mentioned, it's not only a technical skill teaching program, but also including some of the soft skills and insurance company management skills. And it has offered me a very strong foundation to develop my career. So now I'm currently now working as a head of casualty underwriting for Asia in January Global Corporate and Commercial. So now I got a chance to manage a portfolio. So I found myself a lot of skills that I have learned from the school, from the program. Having said that, is the knowledge that I have got from there. I do really can apply in my work and strengthen my portfolio management skills. But also in terms of a soft skills, since I have to work with different diversity of nationalities, people in our office, and also I have to work with other colleagues or friends in the region. So the soft skills that I have equipped from the school, that would be really helpful for me to build up relationship, understanding of our client needs, and also definitely also can share with my knowledge with my colleagues and peers. It was a very exciting experience for me when I was that what I have got in the Miram program. Not sure. I mean, I just give a few words, but maybe I also can take on some question from maybe Barbara or Maria. I mean, happy to take on some question also from the participant here today, and I think it will be more good not only listening from what I have said, but more important to address the question that maybe the potential candidates may have.
Yes, thank you, Kelvin. I agree that the best thing is to leave the floor to our guests today. So if you do have any curiosity as well, some tips that you would like to ask to Kelvin, how did he survive to the program, and in general his experience in Trieste, please really feel free to ask wherever you would like to.
And I do encourage you to raise some question, because
Yes.
I think it's also the part of the program that if you have more initiative to ask question or to learn from the professor, lecturer, or even from the classmate, you can learn, you can take on a bit more than what you expect.
Right.
Sorry, I interrupt.
No, I think that Jonut, you have a question. You have
yes, of course.
Please. Thank you.
Yeah, Kelvin, thank you for the introduction and for letting us know. I just want to ask you what you are doing now, if it's not personal, and what was the most challenging activities during the master program.
Okay, sorry that I haven't briefly introduced myself. So personal myself, I have been in insurance industry for more than 20 years. Now I'm working in Generali Global Corporate and Commercial, which is a unit of Generali focusing on global corporate and commercial segment. So the products that I'm working with is casualty products, which is liability insurance, to insure our clients to against any risk being insured by third parties. Say, for example, if you run a hotel, the hotel guests suffer injury in the hotel room, that the guests may find or may possible seek for damages from the hotel operators if they have any negligence. Say, for example, if the floor is slippery and the cleaner has not cleaned up the floor and causing an injury of the hotel guests, then there may be some negligence incurred by the insured, and we insure that part. So I look after a portfolio of casualty products in Asia region, obviously including Hong Kong, but also Thailand, Malaysia, India, and also China. So we also take facultative insurance from the region. So it offers me an opportunity to work with different people and in the region. And back to your question, what will the most challenging part in my school? I couldn't say anything particular challenging. It may be only my individual background, because I spent in Asia for a very long time, and I haven't been staying in Europe for such a long time. I spent around 1.5 years there. So in terms of the culture or the habit in Asia or Europe could be a bit different, and I had to adapt a really different environment, I would say. Mm-hmm. So thankfully in a school, I mean, there was a class helping international students to settle down well in a different environment. So I could learn a lot of my psychological or psychology or how I can really adapt changes. Mm-hmm. And I have mentioned to a couple of my peers, okay, I think nowadays particularly is a technology era, and people are have to deal with changes every time. or even, you know, the world technology has been moving so quickly. So in my personal humble opinion, if any individual could equip a higher adaptability, it helps the person to really develop their career. But you know, career is not only career, but it also, the experience can help you to build up your capability or build up yourself to deal with different situations, even with your family, your friends, or you know, whatever. But so what I try to say is, I didn't see, you know, the different environment or different living environment is a challenge, but I did embrace it and try to adapt a different lifestyle, meet with different people, talk with people, try to learn from them, and it really create a value for myself, no matter in a career, in my workplace, or even my family. So hopefully I can answer your questions, and but please feel free if you want me to supplement anything.
Yeah, it was it was enough your answer. I really understand it, and thank you for replying me. Thank you.
And Kelvin, hi, we have a question by Chakrapani. Do you have a risk and insurance background? And what do you suggest to someone who doesn't have?
Okay. I did have insurance working experience before I joined the program. Um, but the program has, I have taken other program as well related to risk and insurance. But I think the good advantage for the Miriam program is to offer a very different perspective, because I haven't learned anything from like the qualitative approach on insurance subjects. And it did offer me an opportunity to understand, not only I'm working on the non-life side, but I can also have an opportunity to learn on the life side as well, life insurance. So I do like the program because it offers a lot of different perspective for me to learn insurance. But I mean, in my class, there are a lot of also colleagues without any insurance background, and they did really enjoy, and we still stay in contact with a few friends. And don't worry about that, because if you have the attitude of to learn, proactively learning, I don't see any issue. And the professors are very helpful to answer your questions, to address your issues, and I think they are very friendly. That you can really ask their question or learn from their experience. And having said that, I mean, in the class there are some students with or without experience in risk insurance and risk management, but it doesn't really matter, because even though I work for such an industry for a long time, but I still need some refresh of ideas or new ideas, that even though you don't have any insurance background, it can build up some knowledge with the others.
Okay, great, Kelvin. And we have one more question by Dorsila. It is about your experience with the facilitators and lecturers also during your master time. So which is your experience from this side?
Yeah, definitely. I think they are, as I said, I mean, they are very helpful. If you have any questions, just raise up your hand or interrupt interrupt your professor. Although in Chinese context it might not be polite, but I think it's very good in a European school. And as long as you, I mean, they are very helpful. But if you don't express any doubt, or you have any uncertainty, if you are not you do not raise it up to the professor, I mean, they cannot help you. So I think it's more important is your proactiveness to ask questions. And then, I mean, I got a very good experience with those lecturers and facilitators. that they are really helpful to help you to build up your knowledge, and also they solve you some of the problems in your daily life. So I think it's a very good experience for myself.
Okay, and now it's one from Nalan. Did you have the opportunity to work for companies who sponsored the program? Actually, yes, you are in one of the main sponsor.
Yes. I was working with January when I joined the Muram program, and yeah, indeed I left for 1.5 years, and then I returned back to January again around 5 years ago.
Okay, it seems that we answered to all questions from the community.
Maybe I will ask Kelvin a difficult question. So
Difficult question.
yes, which a tip that you can give to candidates who are now understanding if the program is the right one for them, and yes, what would you suggest them? Even, of course, you do not know them, but still a general tip that you can share.
I think I mean, insurance and risk management are very it's a very key tool in a society, because some of the insurance necessity and really protect the human beings. And I do think that you are now in this program briefing session. I do believe that you have certain you have already demonstrated certain interest to this industry, and I can assure that I think it's an exciting industry. That's also why it keep me to work for more than 25 years, and that's why I think you are in the right industry, in my opinion. And as I said, insurance, particularly for me, I'm working in the non-life insurance industry. We have to keep learning, even though we graduate from the school, because every day I receive submission from the broker, agent, or risk manager. We handle inquiries, we provide solution, but unfortunately there are so many different type of business, and there are a lot of new business that you haven't seen before. So that's why I emphasize a lot. I encourage you to have a heart to really don't be shy, ask questions, keep learning. I think this attitude will be working for you to develop your career in insurance and risk management field. We see a lot of, I mean, in the past 2 decades, I see a lot of changes in the industry, no matter from the regulatory changes or practice change. So I still keep saying another word is adaptation. So I think this is the skill that we have to equip in this era, and I'm really happy because I can see. I mean, MIB still carry on this wonderful program. We need more young talent to be in the industry to help the industry to improve further. So it's a difficult question. Not sure if I can answer some of it, but
your answer was perfect.
Hopefully I can give some insights for all the candidates, and I can guarantee that after 1 year program, you will miss the program. You will miss a lot of things. You will miss a lot of people, and I think I also heard about from Barbara saying about the networking is important, and bear in mind, insurance is people business. That's why networking is very important. And whenever you can learn from your friends and keep stay in contact. I think it's important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have
Thank you,
a
Kelly.
question from Ozariaman from Nigeria. It's about admissions, because she's asking if without a degree in insurance you can get admitted to the classroom and to the master. Maria Antonietta maybe, or Kelvin, if you want to answer too.
Well, I think I can answer the question.
Yes.
Because I'm directly involved in the process. So yes, I confirm that it is possible to be admitted even if with a non-technical background, because the important thing for us is the motivation is to have possibly clear career objective, to focus on, let's say, the soft skills as well, because this is an important part of the profile of the ideal candidate that we look for. And so definitely yes.
And I ascertain Maria's statement because I got a lot of different backgrounds, classmates, no matter from insurance, legal, engineering, accounting, whatever. I mean, it's a very diverse profile in the MIRAM program.
And this, if I can add, is something which is enriching your experience, because it's not just one point of view, but it's a matter of sharing point of views, sharing experiences. And if there is a diverse context, then you are able to have different approaches. And this is what we're looking for.
Consider also there are persons, candidates like Kelvin was, who have already considerable work experience, previous work experience, but there are so many candidates who are young graduates. So this mixed is also very enriching for both, let's say, for both parts of the class. I think that Kelvin has an experience in this as well, because he had, as he said, he had already a number of years of experience in the industry when he attended the program. But there were so many of his classmates who were fresh, new graduates. Correct, Kelvin?
Yes, that's true. I think I don't have a formal statistics, but I do believe that there is quite a number of colleagues just graduate from the school, or they may have 1 or 2 years working experience as well. So I'm not sure. I mean, I feel that maybe the past experience may not be the key factors. I think there are a lot of attributes that you can demonstrate fitting into the program.
Okay. So no more questions? Okay.
Thank you very much, Kelvin. It's been a pleasure to meet you after some time.
Yes,
and we look forward to meeting you in Trieste possibly.
I
year.
do hope so. Yeah, hopefully the COVID situation can settle down, and I do hope. I mean, in the last couple of years, I tried to visit some of the colleges in Europe when I got a chance to travel, but unfortunately it was impacted by the COVID situation. And
yes,
hopefully we can meet again, and as a graduate of MIB and also MIRAM, I do hope to continuously support the school and also the alumni network. And I think it's important that we can have more new blood join the industry, bringing in a lot of innovation, new ideas to improve our industry standards.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelvin, very much. It was very nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Good luck to everyone. Bye-bye.
bye. Thank you, bye.
Thank you.
Okay, I think the agenda is almost completed. but we have still time maybe to collect any other questions. Or feel free to contact us, as I said before, even after this presentations, this session. And we look forward to selecting you, possibly. I noticed that some of the attendees today have been are already in the selection process, who have already completed it. So I look forward to meeting them in next MIM class. Thank you.
Okay, we have still one question by Dorsula regards to admissions.
Yes.
Has COVID affected the process in some way?
Well, we used before COVID, we used to organize also selection sessions at school for especially for Italian candidates or candidates coming from let's say neighboring countries such as Croatia and Slovenia, because as you may know, Trieste is on the border. But unfortunately, this has been no longer possible. And so this is the main, let's say, difference in the selection process, because as the international candidates from far countries are concerned, of course, the selection process has to be completed, to be done online for obvious reasons. So hopefully from next edition, I mean from next year, we hope to be able to reorganize selection sessions at school for the Italian candidates and other candidates who would like to meet us at our premises.
Okay, and the last question from Chakrapani, it is about the first step to start is to fill in the application form.
Yes, exactly. Yes, this is the first step. The application is online, so please visit our website, go to the MIR Master in Insurance page, and there you will find the application form. You have to attach also an ID, of course, the electronic copy of ID and your CV. And then you will be contacted, as I told you before, to provide us with a series of documents, set of documents to support your candidature.
Great. I'm now sharing with you the link to the application form, just in case you would like to start the process. And in case you have any doubts, feel free, of course, to ask any questions about your motivational letter or the merit-based scholarship you would like to apply to, up to 3 of them. So
yes, okay.
Let's see, no more questions. So
okay.
Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you very much. And we wish you a lovely day, and we look forward to receiving your applications and to meeting you virtually during the selection process.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sad, if you want to stay just for a while, because you are saying that you sent the application and you haven't heard from us. Okay, for sure, we will contact you soon. And if you would like, you can switch on your microphone, and so we can directly talk together. Okay, can you hear us? Sad? Sad, can you talk with us now? Because you're saying that you sent the application. Did you already send your application? Sorry, I cannot hear you. Okay, so I'm going to contact you by email. Thank you very much to everyone. Bye.